chosen to ban or boycott. At One Young World, we have chosen not to do so because we recognize that authoritarian figures do not represent the whole of their populations, especially the young. And it is, I know, for everybody here and for all of you, our profound hope that people living in oppressive societies will be inspired here tonight by what they experience and go home and lead the change that their countries need.
Now, when you have 195 countries in the room, you know that there are some countries where there are going to be lots of people here and represented, but there are some countries where the person carrying the flag is the only representative of that country. So we really encourage you to clap and cheer for as many countries as you can. If they neighbor your country, if you speak the same language, if you've been there on holiday or are planning to go there on holiday, give them a huge welcome.
Now, we were honored in 2016 to be the first international organization to acknowledge the flag of the refugee nation. For those of you who don't know this flag, it is orange for the life vest of the people on the small boats, with black stripes representing the life vest straps. It is a flag of people around the world who are refugees. Thank you. In May of 2022, for the first time in our human history, the global displaced population reached 100 million. So would you please give a huge One Young World cheer for the flag of the refugee nation.
Albania. Algeria. Andorra. Angola. Antigua and Barbuda. Argentina. Armenia. Australia. Austria. Azerbaijan. Bahamas. Bahrain. Bangladesh. Barbados. Belarus. Belgium. Belize. Benin. Bhutan. Bolivia. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Botswana. Brazil. Brunei. Bulgaria. Burkina Faso. Burundi. Cape Verde. Cambodia. Cameroon. Canada. Central African Republic. Chad. Chile. China. Colombia. Comoros. Democratic Republic of the Congo. Republic of Congo. Costa Rica. Côte d'Ivoire. Croatia. Cuba. Cyprus. Czech Republic. Denmark. Djibouti, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Egypt, El Salvador, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Estonia, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Fiji, Finland, France, Gabon, Gambia, Georgia, and Germany, Ghana, Greece, Grenada, Guatemala, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Guyana, Haiti, Holy See, Honduras, Hungary, Iceland, India, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Jamaica, Japan, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Kiribati, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Republic of Korea, Kosovo, Kuwait, Kyrgyzstan, Laos, Latvia, Lebanon, Lesotho, Liberia, Libya, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Madagascar, Malawi, Malaysia, Maldives, Mali, Malta, Marshall Islands, Mauritania, Mauritius, Mexico, Micronesia, Moldova, Monaco, Mongolia, Montenegro, Mozambique, Myanmar, Namibia, Nauru, Nepal, Netherlands, New Zealand, Nicaragua, Niger, Nigeria, North Macedonia, Norway, Oman, Pakistan, Palau, Palestinian territories, Panama, Papua New Guinea, Paraguay, Peru, Philippines, Poland, Portugal, Qatar, Romania, Russia, Rwanda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Samoa, San Marino, Sao Tome and Principe, Saudi Arabia, Senegal, Serbia, Seychelles, Sierra Leone, Singapore, Slovakia, Slovenia, Solomon Islands, Somalia, South Africa, South Sudan, Spain, Sri Lanka, Sudan, Suriname, Sweden, Switzerland, Syria, Tajikistan, Tanzania, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Togo, Tonga, Trinidad and Tobago, Tunisia,
Turkey,
Turkmenistan, Tuvalu, Uganda, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, United States of America, Uruguay, Uzbekistan, Vanuatu, Venezuela, Vietnam, Yemen, Zambia, Zimbabwe, United Kingdom,
That was a great round of applause for the flag bearers, and let's have another round of applause for the councillors.
And what you see from that 190 countries is a lot of countries. Now, it's a real honor for me to introduce our next speaker of the evening. She's the former and the first woman president of Ireland. She went on to serve as the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights from 1997 to 2002. She's dedicated her life to the pursuit of human rights and climate justice. She's the chair of the Elders. She's back with us at One Young World for the 7th time. Please welcome returning One Young World Councillor, President Mary Robinson.
Thank you. It's so great to be back at One Young World again, and thank you, Kate and David, for bringing us together and bringing us post-COVID back into this wonderful opportunity. I love to see your bright faces and know the commitments you've made locally and internationally in order to be here. I want to talk about the importance of leadership in a challenging world. Indeed, never before has leadership been more important, as the world divides between autocratic leadership and democratic leadership. The divide is even opening up within states. This matters, particularly because we face two existential threats, which could, in fact, destroy our humanity. The climate crisis more slowly, and a nuclear disaster quite suddenly. I've thought a lot about leadership. I remember a joke about weak leadership. There go my people, and I must follow, for I am their leader. We don't want that kind of leadership. It's worth looking briefly at the two main styles of leadership we see in the world. Firstly, authoritarian or autocratic leaders. They are strongly focused on command by the leader and control of the followers. Systems of participation and civilian space are limited, freedoms curtailed, and police and military used for enforcement. Secondly, democratic or participative leadership, where ideally the leaders serve the people, offer guidance and allow inputs from groups and an institutional balance in society through parliaments, courts and free press. In reality, given the urgency of the climate crisis, what we need is transformative leadership, which can motivate and inspire followers and direct positive action in groups. And I'll come back to that leadership later. I was very pleased to see that one of your themes for this meeting is ethical leadership. As chair of the Elders, that's the one I spend most of my time thinking about. It's a conscious decision to behave according to a set of principles and values that are recognized as a sound basis for the common good. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights and all that has flowed from it since 1948, the Sustainable Development Goals, and speaking truth to power. I like to think the Elders try, with humility, to give ethical leadership. We were brought together in 2007 by Nelson Mandela to help carry on his legacy. Archbishop Tutu was our first chair, then Kofi Annan, and we work for peace, human rights, and a sustainable world that also protects the planet. Happily, the challenge and threat of the climate crisis is bringing out new leadership, the leadership of young climate activists like Greta Thunberg and Vanessa Nakate and millions of others. They're reminding us of the intergenerational injustice as current leaders fail to implement climate policies that will ensure that we keep global warming of our world at or below 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial standards, which scientists in the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change have told us is essential for the survival of humanity. Let me conclude with another emerging transformative leadership, which is taking on the climate crisis with a positive narrative. I'm part of a growing network of networks of women leaders who asked ourselves, what if our best world is still ahead of us? It is. A world without the fumes of fossil fuel. It will be healthier, with green cities full of parks and gardens and even farms. The countryside will be restored and rewilded. Everyone will have access to clean energy and the clean jobs that go with it. We can choose that best world. Otherwise, we face a worsening world that we cannot now ignore. The window is closing. To be on course for a 1.5 degrees Celsius world, we must reduce by 45% carbon emissions by 2030. By January, that will be 7 years away. So women leaders are recognizing we will need a moonshot mentality based on our positive choice of that best world. We need to build a broad climate justice campaign, linking with young climate activists, indigenous communities, faith-based groups, artists, and the progressive private sector. As Nelson Mandela said succinctly, it always seems impossible until it is done. I want all of you to join us in this codenamed Dandelion Project. Remember that name, Dandelion Project. You'll be hearing it again. The dandelion is the only flower or weed to bloom on all 7 continents. It's very resilient. It's very hard to get rid of. And it spreads, often by children, just blowing in the wind. Finally, let me leave you with a wonderful line about leadership, which Kofi Annan loved to repeat, because it's relevant to your generation and also to my generation. You are never too young to lead, and you are never too old to learn. So enjoy One Young World. It's great to be back.
Thank you, our beloved Mary, and thank you for all of the years of support for the One Young World community. Our next speaker is by now a very familiar face here at our summits. Back in 2010, this rock star lent his support to us as one of our very first One Young World counselors. And what he said when he heard about the idea for One Young World, he said, yeah, this could be creative enough. This is a person that in his 20s was really the first on the global stage to bridge the gap between music and entertainment and political activism. He's been nominated 8 times for the Nobel Peace Prize. He's a recipient of a knighthood. His activism through Live Aid, Band Aid, and Feed the World have raised millions upon millions in aid of humanitarian projects. We're so proud and we're so grateful. Would you please welcome back to One Young World, Sir Bob Geldof.
Thank you, chaps. Thank you. Thank you. Well, now you know why we elected Mary to be our president, for which we're all very proud. She's an extraordinary woman and remains one of the great vocal global leaders, and that's why she's with you guys tonight. And following on from someone like Mary or Kofi Annan, who used to join us every year, or Mohammed Yunus, who can't leave Bangladesh because some creeps want to keep him locked up there. We meet tonight in Manchester thanks to Andy Burnham, who's one of the great mayors of this country. But there's no denying that the joy that we celebrated with all those flags, with frankly the best soundtrack that One Young World have come up with in the 28,000 years we've been doing this. Finally, Kate and Dave listened to some different records other than Pink Floyd or something, whatever the fuck they were listening to. There's no denying that we meet here in my view, the most parlous times that we've ever come together. Mary talked about leadership. They want this to be specifically about leadership. And you have to ask why. And the why is because there is such a dearth of leadership in the world today at almost every level, in almost every country, that we are desperate for some of you people to emerge, if not instantly in the next 3 days, but very soon. Because humanity can only bear so much reality. And what are we to talk about if we don't talk anymore about the end of the world? I have children, I have grandchildren, and I move amongst people of your age, and the talk is almost about where's this going? And there's a full stop after where's this going. When we have leaders who believe that it's okay to kill other people simply because they were waving one of those flags you waved tonight, we have a problem. Is there anyone in this room prepared to kill someone who on this stage carried a flag that you don't agree with? And the answer to that, of course, is no. And the reason for that is because we are civilized people, because we don't pay obeisance to nationalism, that crudest, that most childish, that most infantile and facile of all political ideologies. I was talking to James Chan from China, who is a great man and we've known for many years, and I was saying that nationalism is a perversion of that thing we saw tonight, that natural sense of belonging to a place and a people, and that we celebrate both the place and the people. But there are others, and we know their names, and they are in this country also. Just before I came into this building, there was a van playing the British national anthem, perverting the national anthem, with a banner alongside it saying Britain first, Britain for the British. Now this happens in every country, and it makes me sick, because that natural sense of place and belonging can be curdled with people of ill intent into an abusive political ideology that allows you to invade other people's places and homes, and most bizarrely, allows you to wantonly kill them. For what? For some mythic notion? Some spurious reason to maintain power? And why do you want that power? What's the point of power if it isn't to stop the conversations about the end of the world? Mary has worked tirelessly for climate change. If it increases, and she is more specific about this, but if it goes to 3 or 4% increase, that refugee nation, which was the first flag we saw, which we stood up for, magnify that 1,000 times. So be under no illusion here tonight. We are in a period of change that will be talked about in 300 years if we make it through. Old structures are falling apart. The ones that my generation built didn't work. We failed. The French president 3 days ago talked about the end of the age of abundance. And so you walk into this world, but you walk into it with your eyes wide open. It's not just if a leader is facing defeat, he's got a finger on a button. When I was a boy, I joined the campaign for nuclear disarmament. I shared a bedroom with my dad. He slept in one side of the room, I slept in the other. And he had a picture of the Virgin Mary over his head, and I had a picture of a nuclear bomb exploding, a big mushroom cloud with the single word no underneath it. And largely no has been the providing animus, the philosophy behind my life up to this point. But no to the despots, no to the autocrats, no to the killers and the would-be leaders who will not allow us to breathe, let alone live the life that you wish to, and a world you wish to leave to your children. So leadership, yes, but where is it? I struggle to find it. I struggle to meet it. I struggle to hear the discourse around it. I was reminded coming in here, because Kate asked me specifically to talk about examples. Well, in 2005, myself and a couple of other pop singers and Kofi Annan went up to Gleneagles to meet with the Prime Minister of Great Britain at the time and the G8 leaders, including Vladimir Putin. And these 8 men, as it was at the time, sat around a table for 3 days. In those 3 days, 58 people were murdered in London by Al-Qaeda. Straight afterwards, Britain was awarded the Olympic Games. But in the meantime, these 8 people with diverging interests sat down to talk about the poorest people in the world. Those who are now refugees coming to our countries, and increasingly for a better life from war and from climate change. And they sat down and they used consensus, conversation, compromise to do something they really didn't want to do, because I had talked to them all. They agreed that they would uniquely take the noose from around the neck of the poorest countries in Africa by removing their debt. And they doubled the aid to Africa from that point on. Now, can you seriously, all of you in this room, imagine Xi Jinping, Putin, Erdogan, Trump, Biden, or Johnson, who's just left us? Oh, I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing. Don't let me say it. I'm saying nothing. Can you seriously imagine them sitting down and talking about people they never see, they will never meet, and committing their countries to the benefit of well over half this world. But it's possible. It is possible. It's just not possible now with these, oh God, the word I want to use, but Kate will kill me, who run all our countries now. So the gig here is that you get to run your countries. Please don't turn out to be a creep. Please turn out to do what you really can do, because it is really possible to talk about something other than the end of the world.
Thank you, Sir Bob. Always our most challenging councillor. So I'm now unbelievably thrilled and honoured to welcome our next councillor to the stage. She first joined us almost a decade ago, back in 2014 at One Young World in Dublin, and since then joined us in Ottawa in 2016, London 2019. She's an incredibly powerful voice for gender equality. In fact, that was what she spoke about in Dublin in 2014. And she continues to speak out and advocate for women's issues and social justice. Her new podcast, Archetypes, just topped the Spotify charts around the world, and and in it, in conversation with another incredible, powerful woman, in fact the greatest athlete or greatest tennis player of all time, Serena Williams. So please, please give a very warm One Young World welcome to the co-founder of Archwell, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. It is very nice to be back in the UK. And it is very nice to be back with all of you at One Young World. As you'll likely hear many times this week, look, as we just heard, you'll hear all sorts of things. Some very heavy, some very uplifting, but the resounding spirit I believe you will hear is that you are the future. But I would like to add to that you are also the present. You are the ones driving the positive and necessary change needed across the globe now in this very moment. And for that, I'm so grateful to be in your company today. It was several years ago in 2014 that I was first invited to be a counselor at One Young World. And in many ways at the time, I was probably a lot like each of you, young, ambitious, advocating for the things I deeply and profoundly believed in. And also looking around and wondering, how on earth did I get here? Have any of you today so far had that feeling, that pinch me moment where you just go, how am I here? Oh, it's a lot. And at that dinner, there were about 20 to 30 of us for the counselors. And there I was the girl from Suits. And I was surrounded by world leaders, humanitarians, prime ministers, and activists that I had such a deep and long-standing respect and admiration for. And I was invited to pull up a seat at the table. I was so overwhelmed by this experience. I think I even saved my little paper place card that said my name on it. Just proof that I was there, and proof that I belonged. Because the truth was, I wasn't sure that I belonged. I was so nervous. Oh, I doubted myself, and I wondered if I was good enough to even be there, if what I was doing in the world, albeit important and meaningful as far as I saw it, was it deserving to have a seat at this table? But One Young World saw in me what I wanted to see fully in myself. They saw in me, just as I see in you, the present and the future. And I reiterate that point because oftentimes we speak to young adults about the years ahead, about what you'll do, what you'll have to adopt to fix from previous generations, and also what legacy you will leave. But too often in that, we neglect the point that you're doing it now. You here, in this present moment, this is where it's all beginning. The first year I joined the delegation in Dublin, I worked with a young woman from Eritrea. And she described how she had escaped her home country, fleeing with bullets fired above her head. I still remember it so well. I remember my shock, and I also remember her courage. My recognition of how much continues to go on each day with so many turning a blind eye, and yet despite all odds, she, like so many, still persevered. I followed up that trip, as David mentioned, to joining the delegation again in 2016 in Ottawa. I was very lucky to receive a day off of filming specifically to take a quick flight from Toronto up to Ottawa and to be able to join this work again for One Young World, being with some people that I admired most, including former President of Ireland, Mary Robinson, who you heard from earlier. I joined you in London in 2019, and by that point, it's fair to say, my life had changed rather significantly. I was now married, and I was now a mom. My worldview had expanded exponentially, seeing the global community through the eyes of my child. And I would ask, what is this world he would come to adopt? And what can we do? What can I do to make it better? I am thrilled that my husband is able to join me here this time. To be able to see and witness firsthand my respect for this organization, this incredible organization, and all that it provides as well as accomplishes. One Young World has been an integral part of my life for so many years before I met him. So to meet again here on UK soil with him by my side makes it all feel full circle. And just as a sidebar, earlier this afternoon we sat down with a few of you delegates, and it was incredibly inspiring, the resounding themes that came up about representation, about inclusion, about access, and about trying to shift the global perspective for all of us as a global community to one of curiosity over criticism. My husband has long advocated for important and necessary impact in the world, focusing a huge part of his life's work on the youth. So for both of us, bearing witness to the power that you hold in your hands and the unbridled enthusiasm and energy that you have to see things come to fruition, it is just an absolute privilege. I'm incredibly humbled to not just stand before each of you, but to stand beside you. We often hear people say the time is now, but I'm going to double down on that by saying your time is now. The important work can't wait for tomorrow. And this week, the world is watching as you cement your place in history by showcasing the good that you are doing today, in the present moment, as we embrace the moment of now to create a better tomorrow. And with that, it is my absolute honor and pleasure to declare this year's One Young World Summit officially open.
Meghan, thank you. As Meghan said, whilst the next 4 days are life-changing and important, it's what you do afterwards that truly matters. And we now invite these wonderful councillors to leave the stage and give them that huge cheer. Thank you to the 2022 councillors. Councillors, you may leave the stage.
I'm glad that happened. Go this way. Awesome job. Loved it.
Okay? Hello, darling.
So, the One Young World community of ambassadors is creating amazing impact in every country in the world. And so let's take a look at some of our ambassadors in action.
Even in these uncertain times,
One Young World ambassadors are creating a sustainable future for all.
They are rebuilding communities across the globe,
Harnessing the power of their convictions.
Following their example and act now. We need young leaders like you to take action on climate to protect our planet.
We've now rescued 100 million meals from going to waste.
Your community back home is worth fighting for.
We can bring about a better world for all.
The topic of mental health still carries a huge stigma here in Nigeria. One charity is trying to change that.
We have more than 1,500 volunteers on the ground across 18 states in the country. This has redefined my thinking.
We thank you. One Colombian has come up with a unique solution to the problem of collecting rainwater.
Ecomuros are now being built in Mexico and Guatemala.
Only this year we have 50,000 beneficiaries. That is such amazing.
One Young World is raising funds for charity. One artist, Soy Ferrer, has sold 5 NFTs